Today, we are going to be building the best $500 PC for any beginners out there. This PC can run any esports title you want. It will run it better than any PlayStation or Xbox Series X. This PC is just a monster for only $500. The Xbox Series X, which is on screen, is only $499, which is technically $1 less. The only downside is this only comes with the PC. You have to get a keyboard, mouse pad, and all that on your own. So let's begin this monster of a build. For my PC case, I went with the Thermaltake Versa H18. I think this is a very beginner-friendly case. It's, I think, about $40, $48 as of right now. Check the link in the description for the links to buy. And it comes with a mesh front panel built in blue LED strip. It's a micro ATX, and it has a full-length PSU cover. I did not add an AIO on this build. If you do want one, it supports up to 240 to 288 millimeter, and it has two hidden 2.5 inches plus two hidden 3.5 inches drive bays. So if anyone wants the measurements, there they are. So this looks pretty sick. It's just an all black build, so this is why I chose my case for. For our motherboard in this build, we are using the MSI Pro B660MG. This supports the 12th gen Intel Core, Pentium Gold, and Celeron processors for LGA 1700 socket. It supports DDR4 RAM, which we are going to be using DDR4 RAM, and I think this is the best motherboard for this build. For our very capable SSD, we have the Silicon Power 512GB NVMe M2. This is probably the perfect SSD that I could keep under budget. You can get higher storage, like let's say 2 terabytes, 3 terabytes, or you can go a little lower, like 124 gigabytes or 256 gigabytes. I chose to go for the 512 gigabytes, which is not a lot, but if you're only going to be playing maybe like 10 games, this can hold up to 10 very powerful games. Go for it. If you can be like streaming and doing other stuff, then yeah, upgrade it. Just remember, this is a beginner build, so this is also in budget, so don't expect to spend a lot of money on this build. So this is why I went with the 512 gigabyte Silicon Power. For our RAM, I chose the T-Force Vulcan CDDR4. This is probably the best DDR4 memory out there for a budget, and this is why I chose it. The reason we did not choose DDR5 was because the motherboard does not support it. On the board, you're going to see the XMP, the OC1, and the OC2. The XMP is 3,200, and the OC1 is 3,600. And the OC2, which you'll see later, is 2,066. You could have definitely gotten 32 gigs of RAM. I went with 16 for this build. I actually encourage you to get 32 gigs of RAM. It's way better. The performance will improve quite a bit. But if you're on a budget, get the 16 gigabytes if you're not streaming. To power this build, I chose the EVGA 450 watt bronze power supply. This is perfect for a budget build like this. It will give you all the watts you need. Nothing much, just something to power up your PC. For my graphics card, we chose the Radeon RX 6600. This is the best budget graphics card out right now. It goes for around $240. The memory speed on this thing is 14 gigabytes per second. Its memory is 8 gigabytes, and its boost clock up to 2,491 megahertz. And its cooling, it uses the XFX speedster. It's a dual fan cooling. I don't know if nobody cares. I really don't care. All we care about is the performance, and this is probably the best performing budget graphics card out there as of right now. So if you want to know more about this, just click the link in my description and it'll take you out here. But this thing can push any esports game as of right now. It's built by, the chipset is AMD, so I mean, what do you expect with AMD? For this PC, its CPU, it's the Intel Core i3 12100F. The reason I chose this, it's a very trustworthy and very known esports or gaming CPU out there, and it's probably the best one to handle this budget PC. Most budget PC use this CPU. For this build, this is its finished product. It's an incredible build. It does not have RGB, sadly, but we put all that money that you would typically put into an RGB PC into its performance. Typically, an RGB budget PC performs much worse than a non-RGB. For the gameplay or the benchmarks on Valorant, 1080p low, you're getting around 364 FPS on average and 233 on the 1% lows. For an esports game, it's an incredible achievement, and you can definitely play on this. For Far Cry 6 on 1080p medium, you're getting around 81 FPS on average and 69 on 1% lows, so better than any Xbox could. If we hop onto Fortnite, you're averaging about 158 FPS on average and 41 on 1% lows. Remember, this is 1080p Pro and performance mode, so you really can't play games on 1440p, so that's just something to remember. On a bigger game and heavier game, on Cyberpunk 2077, on the 1080p low, you're averaging about 69 FPS and 49 on the 1% lows. If we look over to Overwatch 2 on 1080p Ultra, you're averaging about 131 FPS on average and 104 on the 1% lows. You can definitely turn Ultra down and you'll get more FPS per game, so that's just something to keep watch out for. On Rainbow Six Siege, a first-person shooter, on 1080p very high settings, you can play at around 190 FPS and 107 on the 1% lows, which is actually an incredible achievement for a game like this. On Borderlands 3, on 1080p medium, you can bring medium to low. You're averaging about 91 FPS, and on the 1% lows, you're getting about 41 FPS. On Horizon Zero Dawn, you're averaging about 69 FPS, and on the 1% lows, around 56. This is on 1080p medium, so that's just something to remember.